I recently saw an ad by Tanish, a Tata product, where they launched a jewelry collection called Mia, in which they had this beautiful girl with lots of boxes of jewelry that she was holding in her hand, and I was wondering, what strategy have they used?
Right, I noticed that ad too. I somehow tend to notice ads with beautiful girls in them. I have no clue why. So yes, and now again, that's a question that I put out on Facebook and LinkedIn. I got plenty of responses. I think I got 100 to 200 comments on this from people asking me what that strategy was. And some people try to guess what that strategy was, and not a single person, and I'm not a single person got it right. And I'm connected to some really smart people. I'm connected to people from Harvard, from IIT, IIM, Wharton. I'm connected to chief executives of Fortune 500 companies. I'm connected to the most brilliant minds in the planet, like Tony Buzan, Marshall Goldsmith, David Allen. Not one of them got it right, which should again convince people that this is not something that's going to just come by intuition. What that ad is trying to convey is the concept of you buying lots of pieces of jewelry from that brand. Okay, it's that insane. A person may go to the Mia shop and she might buy one piece of jewelry, but she's seen this lady in the ad having 15 to 20 boxes of jewelry, so she has been exposed to the concept of buying lots of pieces of jewelry rather than just one piece of jewelry.
Poor men.
So it just appears to be totally insane, but it's a strategy called mere exposure.
Okay.
People on their own, if they have to take a lot of initiative to do something, it's too stressful, it's too time consuming, so they're unlikely to do anything new. So you don't expect a person to go to a shop and buy more than the quantity that he normally buys. So if a lady goes to a jewelry store, most of them, unless they've been exposed to some strategy, would have this concept in their minds that they'll go buy one piece of jewelry, go home, try that piece of jewelry, and probably buy the next one at for a special occasion or on a festive occasion like Dharmendra or something. And that's it. That's the culture. That's the habit that people have. Now, here is a brand which is telling you, this lady has bought plenty of jewelry at one time. So now somehow that makes your desire to buy lots of pieces of jewelry a legitimate desire. It just doesn't make any sense, but that's the way the mere exposure effect works.
So if this strategy, mere exposure, works so beautifully, I'm sure there must have been other companies who have used this strategy, or we probably don't even know that we are buying these many quantities because of this strategy.
Yes.
So
yes.
What other examples do you think?
Yeah. Oh, there are examples all over the place, and in fact, I'm surprised that there are not more examples. And I'm going to suggest, I'm going to give free advice to some Fortune 500 companies here. So let's talk about examples that already exist. If you, I am a teetotaler. I don't encourage consumption of alcohol, but this is just an example. If you go to a wine shop or an alcohol shop, you are exposed to the concept of buying 6 packs of beer at one time.
6 cans of beer.
6 cans, yeah. So that's why it's called a 6-pack, and that's why the term 6-pack is very popular. Now, if that concept hadn't been offered, a person hadn't been exposed to the concept of buying 6 packs of beer, plenty of people would have bought, say, 1 beer or at the most 2 beers, or if someone's having a party, then he might buy a large number of cans. Whereas here, we're just putting this in front of him and exposing him to the concept that, hey, this is a packet of 6 beers, why don't you look at it? And It just makes a lot of sense to him. Yeah, why should I keep coming back for 1 or 2 beers when I can buy a 6-pack? It's probably cheaper. It saves me time, and it just sits at my home, and I have the convenience of having it whenever I want to. The chances that he would have thought of all that on his own is remote, because people have lots of things to do. They don't have time to think about all this. So beer companies have used it very, very effectively, and just imagine you're increasing your sales 6x by hardly any great extra investment. So that's beer. The same thing applies in plenty of other places. Say socks, you go to Marks and Spencer and you will see packs of 3 socks being offered, 3 pairs of socks, and if you just buy 1 pair of socks, it's probably going to last you 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. So there's really no very rational reason for buying a pair of 6 socks, or 3 pairs of socks. But then it's there, and you think, oh yeah, it's a nice idea. You don't have too much time to think about it or evaluate it, because it's just socks, and it's not like you're spending crores of rupees, so you tend to just buy it. It's a very small thing for you. It's a very small thing for the consumer. But just look at it from the seller's point of view. He's sold you 3x, and who knows what else he can sell you, and how much higher up the chain he can go. So you can use, it's been used on socks, it's been used on lingerie, so here's a free tip for people who are selling much more expensive things. How about the builder saying this is your second home? Now that the concept of a second home being bought is being exposed to people. So plenty of builders are already doing it. So I'm suggesting more builders do it. The concept of a weekend car. Now I don't think I have come across that anywhere. So let's say Tata Motors, let's say Mercedes could say, okay, why don't you buy 2 at one time? This is from Monday to Friday. And you don't want to use the same car because that reminds you of work, right? Everybody hates work. So why don't you buy this for Saturdays and Sundays? So they can say, they can probably brand it a Monday to Friday car and a Saturday to Sunday car. So the concept now of buying 2 cars has entered people's minds. Even if 1% of the clients go in for it, you can imagine the drastic improvement in sales.
So now that while you're talking about this strategy, one question just popped my mind. Correct me if wrong. Can the way you price your product also help you sell more? Like for example, a very simple edible product like eggs are sold by dozens. So just because it is priced in a way like it's X amount for 1 dozen or 2 dozens, I buy in those quantities. Because of the pricing, I am forced to buy in that much quantity. So is that also something which can be coming under mere exposure?
It's a separate strategy.
Okay.
If you were to offer 12 eggs and maybe you were selling 1 egg at a time first, and you were not to offer a discount on buying 12 eggs, maybe 1% of your clients, maybe 10% of your clients would have bought those set of 12 eggs anyway, purely out of convenience. So it's not necessary that it has to be mixed with better pricing or quantity pricing.
Okay.
But maybe it can enhance it, and I'm sure it does enhance it, but it's not necessary at all. So the concept of mere exposure on its own is a very, very powerful concept.
Okay.
And that's why some of you have figured out we bundle all these videos, and I'm sure you're going to see all 30 of them.
You should.